Union Depot. Visit today and you'll find a grand, bustling transit hub, one that connects St. Paul with North America and brings the community together for hundreds of events each year. The history of this incredible meeting place is a fascinating saga filled with ups, downs, booms, busts, and extraordinary physical transformations. In the late 19th century, St. Paul was a rapidly growing city at the edge of a new economic frontier. Moving the region's people, produce, and merchandise by rail would require careful planning by local decision-makers. James J. Hill of the Great Northern Railway led the effort. Nicknamed the Empire Builder, Hill's determination to connect disparate Minnesota rail lines paid off. The first Union Depot building opened to the public in 1881. The original building was a common stopping point for immigrants, emigrants, and workers venturing to a new city, a location that linked the Western Plains, Northern Woods, and mighty Mississippi. It's important to acknowledge that the site chosen for Union Depot is the ancestral homeland for Native people who once depended on the area's abundant natural resources. The forced removal of the region's indigenous tribes was a dark aspect to an otherwise aspirational chapter in Minnesota history. While transportation at Union Depot was picking up steam, an unfortunate fire destroyed the structure in 1884 and again in 1913. A newer, larger building was necessary to meet the needs of Minnesota's growing capital city. Designed by the noted architect Charles Sumner Frost, the bones of the Union Depot building we know today took shape in 1917. The architect incorporated grand neoclassical architecture elements that awed visitors and onlookers. The rebuilt Union Depot opened to the public in 1926. It averaged 20,000 passengers a day in the years following its grand reconstruction. Those numbers would ultimately decline as new modes of transport such as airplanes contributed to falling ticket sales for rail stations nationwide. By 1971, passenger travel ended completely at Union Depot with the creation of a single passenger network, Amtrak. The last passenger train departed on April 30th, 1971. It would be over 4 decades until another would return. By 2002, Union Depot was recognized as a potential multimodal transportation hub for the upcoming Metro Transit Green Line Light Rail in St. Paul. The Ramsey County Regional Railroad Authority struck a deal to purchase the property. Union Depot was now set to become a central hub for Amtrak trains, light rail, and national and intercity bus lines. But before that, the entire building would need to be restored to its former glory.
What made this site worth restoring was, first of all, its historic value to our community. The Twin Cities might not have been the Twin Cities. St. Paul might not have been St. Paul without the Union Depot and the railroads. This station and the trains helped shape the future of this city.
The primary goal was always to ensure that the building retained its original elegance. After breaking ground, workers cleaned 10,000 square feet of original Tennessee pink marble floors, walls, and columns. Decorative ceiling plaster was fully restored to match its original look, along with 63 arched steel windows.
There were areas of the building where they literally peeled back more than 20 layers of paint, and with the help of the historic groups, determined and agreed what that original color was, and then worked collectively to make that color today out of materials, paints that exist today. And that's just one example of the degree of detail that went into the renovation to return it to its original glory.
Outside Union Depot, new train track, signals, and switches were laid to accommodate future passenger travel, along with renovating formerly vacant stairwells and access to the building. Adding to the historic allure of the space, the building's white oak track cabinets were locally restored to their original glory, now outfitted with electronic displays to alert passengers of real-time travel information.
It took a lot of time. It took a lot of artisans. We had to import people to work on this. And I think we're all very proud of what the end result was.
After 2 years of construction, Union Depot was ready to be unveiled. A grand opening ceremony on December 8, 2012 marked a new beginning. The freshly finished Union Depot debuted as the terminus stop for the Metro Transit Green Line. And in 2014, 43 years after the last passenger train left, Amtrak brought passenger rail back to Union Depot. The Empire Builder, a route named after rail legend James J. Hill, now connects St. Paul to the Pacific Northwest and Chicago.
Since the opening of the depot after the renovation, it has really been our goal to make it be that place where people want to come. Not just those who perhaps live close, but throughout St. Paul, throughout the region. Being a part of those early conversations and talking about what could we do here and realizing we can do anything here.
Union Depot is home for retailers, city events, private meetings, weddings, and so much more. It's a gathering place where all of our community celebrates all of our connections.
For the signature events that are held here at Union Depot, we typically have seen over 200,000 people each year come to enjoy those events. Those can include Doggy Depot, the St. Paul Food Truck Festival. We have our annual Train Days event. And then in the holiday season, beginning after Thanksgiving, we have our Hub for the Holidays event.
What's wonderful about the Union Depot is that it's always evolving. And we get a lot of great ideas from folks in the community because people are always telling me, you should do this, you should do that, you know. And I think that that's just going to keep growing.
There's nothing that I enjoy more than seeing the thousands of people here on any given day for the events and the smiles and the joy that it brings to people. There's just that excitement, and it's just so wonderful to watch that and see that and the experiences that people are having when they come here.
From trains to buses, bikes to cars, today's Union Depot welcomes over 1 million visitors each year from points once unreachable by rail. No matter how someone gets here, they enter living history, a space with stories to tell. The 2012 restoration marked a new chapter for Union Depot. 1 decade later, the story continues.